I'd like to welcome several people that are here. In our audience today, we have Chairwoman of the Board of Education, Leslie Moriarty, and other members of the Board of Education, but I would like to recognize all of them. Barbara O'Neill is here, Adriana Ospina, Stephen Anderson, Jennifer Dayton, Nancy Kao, Peter Schur, and Peter Von Braun. We also have Stephen Wright from the State Board of Education, State Department of Education, First Selectman Peter Tessie, one of our many supportive Western Middle School parents, Police Chief Captain James Heaney, members of the Representative Town Meeting, and the Board of Estimate and Taxation, Superintendent Bill McCursey, and Cabinet members, Deputy Superintendent Dr. Ellen Flanagan, Director of Human Resources, Robert Lichtenfeld, Dr. Robert Lichtenfeld. There are also former distinguished teachers present today, family members, friends, and 6 very observant and caring people who nominated this year's Distinguished Teachers. Thank you all for attending. I also want to recognize our PTAC presidents, Lisa Beth Savitz and Donna Curtis. This is a special celebration, and I want to thank also the chair of the Distinguished Teachers Award Committee, Angela Schmidt, and the members of her committee who are attending here and worked very hard in selecting these honorees and organizing this event. And as always, a very special thanks to Kim Eves, Director of Communication, and the Western Middle School fabulous custodial staff. For making sure that the preparations were in order, and they include Craig, Keith, Ricky, and Jose, and Ed. For once again, they have spared the audience of my singing and my dancing in order to get this set up in time. We are all here, and we are ready now to recognize and honor 6 exemplary Greenwich Public School teachers who demonstrate instructional excellence, a personal commitment to their students and to the learning process, and they have the ability to inspire and motivate children. I am now pleased to introduce the chair of the Distinguished Teachers Award Committee, Angela Schmidt.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would also like to thank the Greenwich Public Schools Festival Orchestra under the direction of Mercy Valancourt for an outstanding performance. And Terry Starkline, who has been so wonderful about hosting this event. Welcome to the 2012-13 Distinguished Teacher Awards ceremony. Before we begin, I would like to recognize our VIPs, Dr. Bill McCursey, Superintendent of Schools, Chairman of the Board, Mrs. Leslie Moriarty, and First Selectman Peter Tessie, who I think he will be here. It is fitting today that on National Teacher Appreciation Day, we honor our Distinguished Teacher Award winners. But we also honor all of the distinguished teachers in our district who give tirelessly to our students every day. Dr. McCursey often speaks of intellectual rigor, lifelong learning, and civic dedication. And as I read through the many applications this year, I realized that these words really described our honorees. I am truly honored to be able to share their joy today. I would like to take a moment to tell you a little bit about our committee. Our committee meets 6 times a year, and our real work begins the month preceding the April meeting, when we individually read each nomination packet and individually rank our top 6 candidates. It is truly a humbling experience to read about the accomplishments of each of these teachers. And I know my members share my feelings in saying that this was an extremely difficult year. We had many outstanding candidates. At this time, I would ask the committee members to stand up so that we can publicly acknowledge our hard work. So DTAC members, please stand up. In addition, our committee would not exist without our many generous sponsors. And this year's sponsors were the Kiwanis Club, GOSA, PTA Council, Central and Eastern Middle School, the International School at Dundee, North Miamis, North Street, Old Greenwich, Parkway, and Riverside School, as well as members of the Distinguished Teachers Award Committee. So I want to thank you all for your generous donations. Before we honor this year's honorees, I would like to give you a very quick history lesson. The committee was formed back in 1983 under the leadership of Dr. Ernie Fleischman. He wanted to recognize distinguished teachers. The first committee agreed that we should have a maximum of 6 honorees per year, and the program grew out of the then teacher evaluation program, and many of those criteria are still embedded in our criteria today. This year, we further reviewed our original criteria and have condensed it into 7 from the original 9. The first class of distinguished teachers was named in the fall of 1985. They received a certificate and a citation from the Connecticut General Assembly and began the tradition of having the framed photos hung in the Havemeyer building. Later, a pin and monetary award were added to the recognition ceremonies. And today, this ceremony coincides with the National Teacher Appreciation Week. Every year, we ask our past distinguished teachers to join us. And at this time, I would like to ask all of our former distinguished teachers to please stand so we can publicly recognize them. In closing, I would like to share one of my favorite quotes written by an unknown author. Teachers who inspire realize there will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones. It all depends on how we use them. So with that, I would like to introduce Dr. William Mahersey, Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you, Angela. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Last year's theme for the awardees, and I at that point was only having just committed to coming to Greenwich, but last year's theme was a second career. All of the awardees last year, the distinguished teachers, as I understand, had come to teaching as a second career. The theme this year is one that I hope will be a hallmark for all of us in the district for decades to come. I know it's been the case for decades, but that theme is personalization, connections. As a parent of 3 children in schools, I'm always wondering who will know my child. How many of you as parents or grandparents, aunts, uncles have worried about that? Who will know my child? Only a few of you. Wow, very assured group in Greenwich. I would worry, who will know my child? These 6 recognized this afternoon. A powerful theme through the committee, through the recommendations, is that each of them is personalized learning and has wonderful connections with students. That might be through multiple assessments, that technical approach we as educators use to really understand. Some of it might be just through conversation, going that extra distance to talk and understand teachers, to understand the students. Some of it is following a student far more than 1 year to make sure that there's multi-year experience and knowledge. Some might be for that student who may not quite know yet their gift, what they bring, to find that gift, help that student find what they really have to give. And also for those students in the middle, those students who aren't at the top or necessarily up-and-coming students, but those in the middle, how are they identified? These 6, Cecilia, Jen, Missy, Steve, Esther, and Mary Beth. I think, Jen, those are your fans there in the 3rd row, is that right? Calling out mommy, mommy. Dad, you're doing a great job. These 6 personalized learning, and that's the hallmark for us going forward. So I'm so glad to be here honoring these 6 who are personalizing and connecting with all of our students. Thank you.
And now I would like to introduce Mr. Peter Tessie, First Selectman.
Thank you, Principal Schmidt, and good afternoon, everybody. It is really an honor to be here to join in the recognition today for our Distinguished Teachers 2013. There is no more important job than being a teacher. And having had the opportunity now firsthand to see inside a Greenwich classroom, since going back maybe 25 years when I was in school, I reaffirmed the fact that I felt for the past several years that teaching is the most challenging yet rewarding profession. Challenging in that you have to come to class every day with enthusiasm and ability to captivate the minds of so many different individual children. And children today are far more advanced, in my opinion. They've got so much going on in their lives, and to captivate them, to be able to connect with them so that they can learn the subject you're teaching is no easy feat. But it is through your commitment and training and passion for the profession that you succeed. And I think that is why we can be very proud of these 6 teachers and the teachers within our district as a whole, because they're taking on what is truly a challenging endeavor, educating our children. But they're doing it, and they're doing it in an exemplary way. So on behalf of the citizens of our town, I want to say thank you to all of you as teachers, but specifically today to the 6 who have been distinguished for your extraordinary capabilities. Congratulations, and thank you for what you do day in and day out for all of our town's children. You are truly appreciated, and we bless you. Thank you.
Now, for the most important part of this program, our distinguished teachers. I would like to have our first nominator come forward, Shay Carey.
Good afternoon. Today, I'm honored to stand here before you to introduce my nominee for the Distinguished Teachers Award. This lady is amazing. She's professional, she's caring, and connects with her students on a personal level. She's also a committed teacher who strives for excellence in all that she does for our kids. Not only is she my daughter's SPED teacher, but she's also my friend. Please help me welcome Mrs. Aida.
Thank you, Ms. Shea. As you are so lovingly called by all of our students, working with you has truly been a labor of love. I would like to thank the staff at Central Middle School because I did not earn this award alone. I wish they were all up here with me right now. I really do. A special thank you to what I call the co-conspirators or the co-nominators, Dr. Joe Frame and Jen Bressler, our science teacher. Thank you to the administration at Central Middle School, Shelley Summers, Joe Frame, and Karen Meady, for their timeless support and efforts on behalf of my students. Thank you to the Distinguished Teacher Committee and for the district for rewarding all of us today. Thanks to my husband and son for all they do for my kids, for all the endless trips to CVS for those Starlight mints that seem to mean so much to them. And a special thanks to my kids. With all the beautiful flowers, cards, tributes, the best of all is when they gathered together for a toast. The toast was their drink of choice, True Mood. They raised their plastic glass, filled with this drink, and made a wonderful toast to me. And those are the moments that really you truly remember. Thank you, everybody.
Our next nominator is Rebecca Bacigalupo. And everyone, I just want to give you a heads up. Rebecca has to leave a bit early. In fact, she literally has to run to her own professional learning. So thank you.
I had the opportunity to teach in a comprehensive support program which serves students with primary concerns in the social, emotional, and behavioral realms. As a member of this team of dedicated professionals, I worked under Jennifer Benoit's leadership. Seeing her in action inspires me. Jennifer puts students first. She believes in their capacity to grow and to learn. She's deeply committed to reaching every child, to teaching them to value themselves, and to make positive choices about their lives, their futures, and their education. To quote a couple colleagues, Jen is the glue that holds CSP together. It is my honor to introduce distinguished teacher Jennifer Benoit.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm so pleased to be a recipient of this award. I congratulate my fellow distinguished teachers. I will speak to my experience. One of the many joys of teaching high school, especially in the comprehensive support program, is that relationships between students and staff are strong. There is a shared goal for academic, interpersonal, and personal development. I honestly think that my students are some of the bravest people I've had the opportunity to know. They come to CSP from a place of school failure and struggles, but yet they come. To show up on a daily basis to a place that in the past has not afforded them feelings of self-worth and accomplishment is a brave act. These students enter CSP willing to give it another try. They open themselves up, becoming incredibly vulnerable. I am awed by this offering of trust. Academic success is not possible if it is not preceded by the belief that it is achievable. The team of teachers I work with is exceedingly talented and dedicated. To work shoulder to shoulder with those you respect is a tremendous blessing. I share this honor with them. The strength of a gifted team carries throughout CSP, making it a place of acceptance, academic challenge, and growth. Thank you.
Our next nominator is Julie Perenniers.
Missy, you are a risk taker for students and a trailblazer amongst your peers. 4 years ago, you stepped into a classroom of very special students to teach the first section of AVID at Greenwich High School. Over the years, and I'm not sure if you knew you were getting into all this, you have been a teacher, a mentor, an advocate, and a confidant to your AVID students. These 16 students, and a bunch of them are sitting over there, are all the first in their families to attend college, and all are graduating next month and heading off to school. Your fellow teachers are using AVID teaching strategies in their classrooms because they have watched your hard work and your students succeed. The Greenwich Alliance Board is so proud of you, and we thank you for making a very real difference in the lives of students. You are truly a distinguished teacher.
Julie, thank you for nominating me for this award, and thank you to the Greenwich Alliance for taking a chance on AVID and investing in our students. Mayor Adelsberg, thank you for being my colleague and my friend, but mostly my friend, and seconding her nomination. Chris Winters, our connected and reflective principal, thank you also for knowing me well enough to second that nomination. I suppose my career is something like the question Chris often asks of us. How do we make a big school feel like a small one? You make it a family. My maternal grandfather went to GHS. His 3 kids went to GHS. And from that generation, 40 years of service to the same Stanford school came from my mother. When she retired, it wasn't news to us, but the Advocate's headline said, saying goodbye to a school that felt like home. I found that I had fond memories of sitting at the kitchen table with her as she prepared for her classes, and by sharing her role as an educator with my brother and me, we were inspired to become teachers. Though my dad, the only one in my immediate family who's not a teacher, isn't in education, he has been even more explicit in his support of us and his respect for the profession. However, the influence of making school feel like a home did not stop with my career choice. It is both an honor and a pleasure to teach in the same building as my husband. And I'm sure the table we set for our children will be reminiscent of the one I shared with my mother. Actually, I can already envision, even though our daughter still has 3 more months to arrive, that Fruit Loops will turn into probability problems and persuasive essays on why red is the best. Again, the family at GHS has given me is not dependent on blood or marriage. The GHS family tree is made sturdy by the deep roots planted in the English and Social Studies Folsom House. 2 out of the 6 of us today stand as tall and proud as the trunk of the English department to which we belong. And the new branches that have reached out to Cantor House and the Office of Student Life have given me a broader perspective on what it means to be a part of our school and attend it as a student. No matter how contaminated the soil is at GHS, the seed I planted there 10 years ago has prospered. However, nowhere has my career been sweeter than in the work that I do with my AVID students. Brian, Victor, Jenny, Naja, Donna, Gabriel, Sol, Gabby, Nathan, Edna, Sal, Andres, Miguel, Manuela, Stephanie, and Annie, as freshmen who resemble the little green buds at the onset of spring, and now our AVID family tree weighs heavy with the fruit that you have yielded as soon-to-be graduates. It is your success, all 16 of you into college, that moved Julie and the Alliance to nominate me for this. So even though I'm up here and you're down there, we share this distinction. I'm thrilled by the sustenance you will offer to the world as you graduate, And I know that what I learned from my family about education will be brought to the kitchen tables you set for your families. Thank you.
Our next nominator is Lauren Buckley.
Good afternoon. As a school counselor, I always tell my students that it is not what you do, but who you are that truly matters. Steve Kinner is living proof of this motto, although what he does in his tech ed room is pretty amazing too. Steve is not only the teacher every kid wants to have, but the type of teacher every kid needs. The students who wrote his nomination letter summed it up best when they said, "Mr. Kinner makes us feel like we can achieve the greatest we possibly can. He helps us find and reach our full potential. It is inspiring how he gets the people who you would usually find slacking to not only care about the class, but to love it." As his colleague, I am continually impressed as I watch Steve go above and beyond each and every day in his classroom and outside of it as well. I am inspired and pushed to be a better educator through Steve's example. Overall, there is not enough I could say about Steve as a teacher and more importantly as a person. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to Eastern Middle School's Distinguished Teacher of the Year, Mr. Stephen Kinner.
It's a long walk from here. Excuse me, I need my glasses. There's a common theme going on today, and that common theme is thank you. I stand before you a very humbled person. I never envisioned myself as a distinguished teacher, and neither would you if you ever saw me at the end of a school day. But here I am, and I have several people to thank that observe something unique in my teaching skills. And I'm going to start with my nominators, Lauren Buckley, Joanne Savino, and Jimmy Catalano, our student. A special thanks for nominating me and for this prestigious award. I am still not sure what you saw in me, but thank you anyway. Eastern Middle School's very own Ralph Mayo allows me to do my job every day. He's not bugging me, letting me do what I want to do, and he's always amazed at what my students can produce. Thank you very much. Another big thank you for the support staff at Eastern Middle School, the gals in the front office, the custodians, the counselors, the special needs staff, the lunchroom folks, the administrators, and all the other teachers within whom I interact. Without them, I couldn't do my job. And if I can't do my job, my students can't do the incredible things that they do on a daily basis in my classroom, and ultimately, I wouldn't be standing here. Therefore, this award is not just for me, it's for all of us. I just happen to be the one before you accepting that award. I am truly humbled. Thank you.
Our next nominator is Victoria Newman.
First Selectman Tessie, Superintendent McCursey, Distinguished Teachers 2013, Board of Education, fellow parents, teachers, and administrators. I am honored and privileged today to celebrate the remarkable accomplishments of Ezra Murray and to congratulate her on being recognized as one of the 6 distinguished teachers for 2013. Simply put, Ezra is the finest elementary school teacher I have ever known, and is the kind of teacher that children may encounter only once in a lifetime. One of Ezra's keys to success is that she connects with her students on a human and personal level, and she understands the value and importance of human relationships and that every kid needs a champion. Fred Stewart, 4th grade teacher and 1999 award recipient, said, There are many teachers who have impressed the parents enough to get nominated, but few of them have the true education and knowledge of Esra Murray. Esra deserves this award because she is the genuine article, a true expert. Esra, on behalf of our family, the entire Greenwich community, I know the Newman's children's lives have been forever enriched because they had you as a teacher. Congratulations.
It's always hard to follow Vicki. I just want to say thank you so much for this incredible honor and this recognition of the work that goes behind raising the 21st century child. The citizen, Dr. McCursey, hi boys, the board, the committee members, all of you, everyone, so thank you so much. I accept this with such honor on behalf of all elementary school teachers. And there's so many people to thank, so I'm just going to start off. Thank you to all my Barbies and all my stuffed animals, who remained as my loyal and captive audiences for many years, listening to me teaching all sorts of lessons. I'd like to thank you, my better half, and as you guys know, he's just been incredible. That afternoon on top of our Brooklyn Heights apartment overlooking at the financial center, listening to me mention the ad that I saw on the subway saying, when is the last time the spreadsheet that you made changed the life of a person? He heard all about that. Thank you. Thank you for my family who supported my decision to take the risk of me reinvesting into a new field, my decision to change their own investment strategy in me shortly after spending thousands of dollars in a great education and me shift gears on them. Thank you to my former superintendent, Dr. Castro, who now we have the privilege as the head of Eagle Hill, for recognizing the passion, the bubble, the bursting bubbles in me, and giving me my first opportunity to immerse myself into a field which now defines me as a person. I'd like to thank you, Mrs. Ricky, my current principal, for recognizing literally the sand in between my toes when I traveled 4.5 hours to interview from our summer vacation home, to interview for the only school that I envisioned myself working in, other than the school that I was already teaching. I'd like to thank the ISD staff for just accepting me as me and allowing me to be me, the best me, all these years. I'd like to thank the Newmans, to Vicki Newman, Peter, Talia, Kylie, for recognizing my heart, my soul, and my love for what I do naturally every day. And thank you to my amazing boys, and I apologize for the rows over there, from the very moment opened their eyes on that July night, transformed me into the revised me, Mrs. Murray 2.0, that is, and continue to upgrade me to a newer and more revised and improved versions of me. You know, research shows that we have the power to determine where we really want to be by imagining what we want, by imagining how we see ourselves. And I want to close my remarks by reference to Viktor Frankl's 1964 book, Man's Search for Meaning, where Franklin says, a human being is a deciding being. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth, our freedom. So thank you to all of my students for helping me recognize that space. Thank you.
Our last nominator is Cassandra Echeverria.
Hello. As Bridget Barry, English PA and Greenwich High School housemaster, correctly stated in her second juror's nomination, Mary Beth Smith is recognized school-wide as an extraordinary teacher, colleague, and leader. By some stroke of luck, I was paired up with Mary Beth about 11 years ago to collaboratively teach a 10th grade English class. We have the shtick of good cop, bad cop down to a science. I am the good cop. She's always the bad cop. But I have been a lucky one because not only have our students learned so much from her, but I have learned what it means to be a good teacher and, more importantly, a good person. To quote a former student who is now a junior at Duke University, she says, "They always say that you have one truly excellent teacher in your lifetime. And for me, Mrs. Smith holds that title. AP English with Mrs. Smith was the best class I'd ever had the honor to struggle with. Without Mrs. Smith's class, I would not have become the student, writer, or member of society that I am today." To finish with another quote from a teacher, Eric Block, an English teacher at Greenwich High School, which really highlights another one of Mary Beth's strengths. He said, "Mary Beth is a teacher in and out of the classroom. She takes great pride in helping her co-workers and mentoring new teachers, sharing insights and materials to better prepare them for their careers." And he ends with, "She is also a giggle pants." So now I introduce Mary Beth Smith, our giggle pants.
Good afternoon. I am honored and humbled, as my colleagues are, to have been chosen to stand here among such talent and receive this award. As I look out at this impressive crowd, I am left, well, speechless, which I know for most of you that I work with and those of you that are related to me is kind of shocking. As you all know, I'm never short of something to say, so not to worry, I have a story. Well, a metaphor of sorts. During my time here at Greenwich, I spent several years working with and helping to run the community learning program. A huge part of this program is adventure education. We often went on camping trips with our 30-plus, rather non-traditional students. And so one day, I found myself in the middle of the wilderness, working side by side with my students to climb rocks, orienteer through the forest, and, the most frightening, rappel off cliffs. The idea was that if we could all learn to face what we fear and what challenged us, we could take those lessons back to the classroom and beyond. There I was, at the top of a 70-foot cliff, harnessed into a contraption that did not look like it would hold a twig, much less me. The mountain guide gave the okay. The protocol was that I needed to have the rope and knots checked before the rappel. I turned to the student who would be in charge of making sure those knots were secure and safe. He was the same student I had given a detention and failing grade 2 days before. We were barely speaking. "Is the knot secure?" I asked. He looked back at me, silent for a moment, checked the knot and replied, "Yes." And with that, I stepped backwards off a 70-foot cliff. Teaching is like that, frightening, exciting, dangerous, and always worth the risk. It's the best job in the world, and I love it. To get to work with people, sorry, I'm very hormonal. My family understands. I get to work with people, young and old, who are exciting, frightening, dangerous risk takers, and every day I learn something new. Thank you to my colleagues and my students and my family for allowing me to step off that cliff with you.
now I would like to introduce Leslie Moriarty, the Chair of the Board of Education.
Thanks, Angela. My comments were all about what role models these teachers are for our staff. But before I start those comments, I have to acknowledge what I heard from each of you just now, which is you didn't talk about what you give your students. You talked about what your students give to you. And I think that is probably the hallmark of an excellent teacher, but it's so impressive as a parent, as a community member to listen to that. We are so lucky to have you in our midst and to have teachers like you all over our district. The educational research says that the quality of the classroom teacher is the single most important factor in a child's education. And as parents, we know that every day. Teachers know that, but I need teachers to understand that that knowledge doesn't just sit with us. I think our community members understand that. We value what we do, and we're so impressed by the challenges you face every day and how you attack them. Greenwich has very high expectations for everything we do, especially in our schools. And as I visit classrooms during the year, I see those high standards and the professionalism of our staff throughout every building. But the teachers recognized here today go beyond that standard. You provide innovation in your classrooms to help our students. The critical thinking, you're modeling it for our students and how you deliver the education every day and what you expect of them. The pride and self-confidence that you show and how you approach your jobs reflects well on you, but teaches them how they should have pride in themselves and what they're going to provide to our community as they go forward. Creativity is an integral part of what you do and how you do it, and how you help each individual students thrive. It's amazing reading the stories of each of you. You're all different. You have different challenges, different expectations, but each of them work in your classrooms and excel. And you are an example of so much of what we have in the district. I know the audience, we have a large number of staff, and I don't get to talk to staff that often, but I'm so impressed by what I see, and it's great that we can embody that and have that represented in the 6 of you. You're an inspiration to the rest of us. You want me to make me be more effective and for me to do my job better, and I thank you for that inspiration. So on behalf of the board, I want to thank you. I want you to let me know how I can better support you and your colleagues, although I do have to say, when I said this last year, Andy Vermonti wrote me an email asking me for computers for his classroom. I also want to thank the members of the Distinguished Teachers Committee. It's a very difficult job picking just 6 out of all of those nominees. They're tough choices, it's hard work. Thank you to the nominators. I know you go out of your way to really support your teachers. This is one of my favorite nights of the year, and I just have to say again, thank you so much on behalf of the board and the community.
I'm still as awed as I was when I first met these amazing 6 people. What I would like to do at this point is invite you to come out and celebrate with them. And there is a lovely reception across in the gymnasium. Please take a few minutes to stop by. Thank you very much for coming out.